This is Horizon Forbidden West. It was released in 2022 by Guerrilla Games. In this video, we will take a look at world building. We'll focus on some assets, look at concept art, explore the work of many different artists and outsource studios. So first we're going to look at the work of Adrian Stam. And this first part is from an article on 80 level. So this is the link and you can go and read everything. I have included almost everything, but I'm not going to read the article. We're going to focus on the breakdowns. So this is a prop or a set of prop for the Quen. And this is where we can really understand their approach to world building. So their goal then was to brief those props for the asset creation teams, which is one of the main role of concept art during production. So we have an amazingly detailed breakdown of the process. So let's dig in. So this one is like one of the most telling of their process. So the artist said that he had a lot of fun to explain in true IKEA fashion, which is hilarious, but this is the level of detail that went into this game. So it's not only it looks good, the wood material looks old, it makes sense, right? Those parts, those intricate parts, it's not just a piece of wood. It's many pieces attached in a certain way, held in a certain way, and you can see, after you have seen this, you understand, this is how they built it. This is how the 3D artist did the actual model at the end of the day. And this is just fantastic. So I will let you read. I will, of course, comment. And I have highlighted what I found the most relevant. Well, every word, like all the article is extremely important, extremely interesting, but you have to understand how world building works. So it's basically narrative design being conveyed by the concept artists so that the 3D artists would create the assets in a certain way for a certain reason. So of course I'm mentioning concept artists because the artist is a concept artist, but there are art directors, narrative design directors, narrative designers. You get the idea, right? It's like the whole team is going in one direction, and it's this is why this game is absolutely fabulous. And I say this game, I mean this franchise. Horizon Zero Dawn, of course, who came out of nowhere because it was a new IP. And I personally got completely hooked on the world, the story, the characters, and of course the high level of artistry, the gameplay, like basically, right, it's an excellent game, so I love it. But why is it an excellent game? I believe the world building, it's like a masterclass of world building, right? It's extremely difficult. There are tons of IPs out there competing with Lord of the Rings, with Star Wars, with, name it. There are, of course, hundreds of amazing IPs, but coming up with something new and fresh that technically did not reinvent the wheel. This is like no pun intended, because we're actually gonna be looking at a wheel here, so very funny. But they are just, and I'm absolutely not diminishing the brilliance of their work, without reinventing the wheel. They just came up with something that felt completely fresh, completely original. And yes, I know some, I wouldn't call them haters, but some critics said, yeah, it kind of makes no sense, right? Dinosaur robots, like what the heck? But this is a video game, so it's fun. It's fun to be attacked and to kill dinosaur robots. And more than that, what we're going to explore in this video are the tribes and the cultures and how different they are and how they came to be. So this is, I believe this is a must for any artist. And here we can see like basically one of the ships, like a great concept art here. And we will do a deep dive into the creation of this piece. So you have to understand that world building, there's the micro and the macro. If the micro, like the small parts, are working perfectly, then the macro works, I would say simply works, but works even more, right? You get to believe in this culture, that they actually exist there, that they function in this way, thanks to all these small details. So this is just an amazing article. Thank you so much to the artist, and I'll do my best to summarize and synthesize what is important. So he explains that he actually took an existing asset from their library instead of, doing one from scratch, and it's especially important to preserve the dimensions, right? Because character animations are linked to these assets. So of course those are interactable assets, right? Some wheels are interactable. So that's why the artist started with an existing 3D model and a very interesting look into the world of concept art using 3D. And the artist explains a lot of details. So please read the whole thing. I'm gonna go over the main parts, but you will miss a lot of details. I cannot cover absolutely everything. And I believe it's a must that you would read everything. So the artist did a quick pass and very funnily calls it dirty modeling. Well, technically this is not how you learn to model in school, right? But you have to understand in the industry, of course, we do things right, but we have to do things fast also. And now this is not the final asset that will end up in the engine. This is more of a look dev, of a, I wouldn't call it proof of concept, but it's basically to show those details, those like where we're going for. It's basically for art direction and to show the team, right? So he explains a little bit about his process, how he tweaked, how he went through rounds of feedback, how he changed, how he adapted, and how initially there were no ropes and it felt a little bit empty. So by adding the ropes, it made a lot of sense. And also, this is a boat, so you would get ropes, and there are people living by the sea from fishing, boating, and all these things. So ropes made a lot of sense. So he's explaining very briefly how he did, and that's just an amazing method. Might not be the final version that you import in the engine again, but a great approach to getting this done quickly. So some interesting details, of course, here and there. And then in Blender here, you have not the final version, but you have something that is getting towards the final steps, right? And yeah, he's explaining a lot of great details. Please go over it. An advantage of fully modeling the design instead of doing most of the work in 2D is already having a backside design. When modeling the block out, I thicken the rear of the spokes where they meet the axle to strengthen the center connection and slightly offset the wheel from whatever it attaches it to give it a more organic feel and a more, it's been put together, not in a factory, but by, artisans, people with their own hands, right? And you see actually here the backside, you see exactly what he meant. That is just so good. And as a 3D artist, you love these. So let's move forward. There is more. So here he's explaining that adding the normal map made a huge difference, of course, gave the look immediately. So he used an ID map, which is also called a clown pass. That's meant for selecting materials very quickly. That's extremely helpful. That you basically need that all the time. And then he's explaining the process of getting feedback, adjusting to it. Basically, this little brass section from on both sides was a little too thin, so he made it bigger so that, you know, it could actually be more noticeable. And here, just some texturing greatness, some iterations, of course, from different versions. And this was the one that was most fitting with what we're going with. And now he shows that in Substance Painter, he shows basically how to integrate that layer group of paint so that it feels much more believable. You see here, it's just basically stacked onto the wood, and here it looks like it's been weathered, right? It's been applied onto the wood, but you see the wood grain, you see some cracks here and there, so it's much more detailed, much more believable, it looks much better. So here you have some more details for those who are interested, and here you have the final version, which looks really good. And you have all the weathering, all the discolor, the saturation, the discoloring, and here you have it in context. So that's just phenomenal. I went over quite quickly. Please do yourself a favor, read every little bit of it. You will learn a lot of stuff. Now let's hear it from the channel's partner, NordVPN. We have a great deal for you. 75% off and 3 months extra. Also with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Why choose NordVPN? Well, because it's the best VPN you can get. You can compare all the data here, and you see that this is by far the best service you can get. Let's look at some of the features. So, uninterrupted streaming. You will not get your videos to stop right in the middle like it happens without a VPN. This is not going to happen with NordVPN. Next generation encryption will keep your online data safe even on public Wi-Fi. Strict no-log policy. NordVPN will not be using your use bandwidth, traffic logs, IP addresses, or browsing data. Very easy to set up, literally only a few clicks and you'll be done. Alerts about leaked credentials. You will be notified if your accounts are in danger. One account, 10 devices. You'll have enough to connect everything in your household. It also comes with an anti-malware tool directly integrated called Threat Protection Pro. So that's a big bonus. You will also have access to thousands of ultra-fast VPN servers everywhere. Now, let's break down this offer. Those prices are in Canadian dollars, but you will see the prices in your country's currency, and the deal will be the same. This is what you should look for right here. So, remember that you have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it out with peace of mind. NordVPN is a trusted company. And as you can see, you have from 73% to 75%. Of course, you have different plans. You can choose the one that suits your need. You see that there's not that much difference between the two bottom ones and the two top ones. It's also not a big leap from one to the other. So you choose whichever makes sense for you. So those prices are for the 2-year plans. If we look at the 1-year plans, it's also very good. You save from 60 to 69%, which is a lot. So you see the prices, still very reasonable, very good offer, and 3 extra months. And finally, let's look at the regular price. This is a great offer. You'll be able to browse the internet freely with peace of mind. You will have access to region-locked content, and you will save a lot of money. So don't wait, get the deal. Still from the same artist, the Fleet's End. Interesting comments in the description. So visual development and prop concept done for the Quen settlement. The environment art team did a fantastic job implementing and improving on our exploration. So you gotta understand that there is a lot of exploration of, I would say, trials and error, of rounds of feedback, until it actually makes it in the game and you see the final version, right? It's a communication, it's a dialogue between art directors, concept artists, and the 3D team. So this was for the Burning Shores, but it's part of the game, so we are still talking about the same game. And we can see here the same construction breakdown that we saw earlier. So you can see an early concept of the map of the area and the concept right here. So let's look at the work of Jordi van Hess and let's dig in. So they have a very beautiful way of doing material call out. So you have the 2D concept, and then you have some more realistic material that is the call out, but it's part of the actual concept. So it's just glorious and beautiful, and it's a piece of art in itself, right? So we will see more of it. We can just appreciate very detailed artwork, and this is it. So for a professional concept artist, drawing this should probably take little time, but then there's only so much information here, right? Like there's actually quite a bit of info, which is great. But for the texturing artists, for the environment artists, the props artists, they need more, right? So they need to know, okay, I get an idea for my albedo for the rocks, but what kind of rocks, what kind of weathering, what kind of details should I add? Same for the ropes, same for the metal. Metals are always like, this is clear that this is going to be metal, but in what state do you want your metal, right? So this is just so amazing to see here. And you see different versions, right? You see a rougher sketch here, probably done very quickly. And then you see this version with very good looking material, which informs the 3D team and the texture team on what to do. So again, here we can start by the top. You have this version here with, again, with colors, with quite a bit of info already on the materials. But then you have this little part here, which is the material call out. So you see a much more detailed, much closer to the final version that we want, right? And of course, it's done for every prop, quick sketch, coloring, and then the actual material call out right here, because wood is wood until it's a very specific type of wood. Maybe it's burnt a little bit. You know, what exact type of color variation do you want? Like you see, right? Like this could go in so many different ways, but with such detailed work, well, there are many questions that are not needed anymore. And then you also have the functional information here on how does it actually go, how does it work together. So this is just so good to see. And you see here, even for some smaller parts, like the detail of this this leather strap, how exactly is it gonna look like, as close as possible as the finished, as the final version. And here you have something beautiful, like a gorgeous piece of art right here. And it goes on and on and on. We have a lot of work from this artist. Again, same idea. Look how great that is. I mean, copper is copper, but do you want it oxidized? Do you want it, where will it actually oxidize? And here you have the additional info, the additional details of the rivets and those metallic parts. It's so much information. It's so great. And again, you see the rocks, the metal, everything here is conveyed. And same, front, back, this piece goes here, then that goes there. This is the conveyor, it goes here, it goes there. Like, this is just so fantastic and so great to work with. Just some amazing concept art. It does a huge difference. And when you like, that's kind of a question for interviews for 3D artists or environment artists. They're going to ask you basically, are you comfortable working with or without? And the real question is, are you comfortable working without concept art? And of course, your answer has to be yes, but you have to kind of give it some more context, right? You have to explain, how do you do? Because look, if you work with such detailed concept art, I mean, it's not like your job is done, but I would say honestly, there is so much information that you don't need to ask, like you just need to execute. So if you have it, you execute. Of course, there will be feedback, there will be back and forth, but honestly, your job is much easier. So when you do not have concept art, well, now you gotta come up with your own references, your own material callouts. You have to, in many cases, run them by the art director, texture artist, concept artist, your lead, of course. So that's really something to consider. See, like, this is so comfortable, right? When you're wondering, okay, so how exactly? Okay, it goes this way. It's gonna have a lighter color underneath. So you have so much information, right? Lighter color on the sides also because of the wear and tear, because of usage. Whereas here it's all a uniform color, which is normal. So yeah, you gotta get comfortable. If you're lucky, you will work with such detailed concept art. If you're not as lucky, and these guys are busy because they can't, of course, do every single prop, every single environment, every single building. And in a lot of cases, they are working on it, but it's not yet ready. So you have to be able to work without. If you are interested in learning how to apply the techniques that we're covering while analyzing those games, I have created a course in which I show everything step by step. There are no time lapse, nothing is done off screen. I take the time to explain what we do and why we do it. I show best practices. And we are creating a small environment from A to Z. I'm showing every single step of how it's done on a professional production. I can answer any questions you might have on multiple platforms. So if you are interested, there is a link in the description and there's a discount available with the code provided. Next, we'll look at the work of Glenn Van Driel. So this is the graphics and decorations, all related to the Tenact tribe. So we can see a lot of assets right here and a lot of iterations on the same idea, but with different propositions. This is really interesting. Some more here with the desert Tenact. So here we have settlement icons. We will see those on the map. This is a throne room floor map. Very beautiful piece. And we have a map right here with the settlements being displayed. Then from the same artist, we see some amazing callouts again. So you see that all artists were instructed to use the same approach. And well, we're very fortunate to be able to take a look at those. So you can see the sketch with color and then the callout. And you can see how valuable that is, because we know as an artist, we can tell immediately what kind of metal to use, what kind of weathering, where to put it, even if by experience we can tell where it should go, but still the level of wear and tear is very important. So you can see the pattern, how much weathering the wood has to receive, what kind of wood. You can see there are many different type of woods already, and all of that is conveyed with the material callouts. See how important that is? This is brilliant. So there are many more pieces from the artist, but what I really like is the food and drinks. So let's jump straight to it. This is the Oseram cooking, and I really like this one personally. So you can see again, material call out, just fantastic approach. I love it. I honestly, I wish every studio would use that. So we can see here a stretched out photo, but it fits perfectly. And you know, we don't expect like the artist to actually do that and spend so many hours. So this is perfectly fine. The detail on every other part is just so great. And then we see in context, right? Like close and then open with the food. So it's absolutely great. And here we can even see the roasted chickens. And like, this is just so great. You have more tools here. So this is so detailed, so much information for the rest of the team, especially here. I love it. So see, this one has that's an experience tool, right? It has seen a lot, and you can see burning marks, of course, rust, traces of rust. Some places are matte, some places have some reflection. And we have more from the same artist. So this is from the Quen tribe, and we see here stacking in makeshift seed box created with Laura Kempf during her internship. So again, collaboration. A lot of artists, of course, have worked on the game, and this is how you get such detailed and amazingly complex pieces. And we can see how they were created, how they were designed and then created. So you see the painting, and then you see again the same trick we saw with the wheel, the paint being more integrated in the wood, with the wood grain visible and all that. That is just so great. Then you have the exact type. We even see how they actually did it. That's just fantastic. That's just probably Photoshop overlaying. And that's just great. This is how you should do it. And then you see a more final version here. Then we have more from the Quen fisheries. And this is just like on another level, right? You can see the use. So some algae, some other life form that attach to the wood because it's under the water. You can see the moss or algae. I'm not a specialist, but you know, the flora that attaches to the actual asset. You can see it again on the ropes. So that is just so great. And you see some, those would be horizontal slices so that we can see how it's actually created, so that the artists doing this in 3D have an easier time, right? The rope is passing actually on this side, but it doesn't go all the way. So you have all the information needed to create those. And here you have a whole lot more. You have the patterns that are going to be used to decorate. The use also, this is for putting the fish. And here you have a 3D model that further explains the context, the use, and how you can expect to see it in the game. We have a bit more here. You have an actual storyboard that shows probably from a cutscene that will be featuring these very props. And then you have something else here, which is really, really, really cool. And you have a lot of explanation. Next, we are going to look at the work of Eric van Elvoort. I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name. He worked on the base, and we can see the very early concept, style and layout exploration of the base. So this is just so great to see. Basically not a blockout, a detailed blockout. And then we see with lighting over paints, with some holograms. and how it will eventually look like with the lighting. And some more early style exploration. This is just like, this is really a treat for people who played the game and see how it was planned from an early stage all the way to what made it in the game, right? And there are, of course, many. This is the holograms of Gaia states. This is in one section, but also the base is evolving as you gain collaborators or friends that join the base. But still, this is like the initial state. And here we have something very special. So it's various concepts for the cauldrons in the game. And we have a few shots right here. And we're gonna watch a few videos. Let's now look at the work of Konstantin Leontiev, and now onto something different, some cinematic simulations. So we're going to see various scenes. Those are just screenshots, but I will play the videos, and you can see the actual final version. And on the bottom screen here, we will see a more simple version, which will allow us to really understand how things break. That's going to be very interesting. So we're going to look now at an iconic scene with the Hollywood sign and its destruction. More glorious destruction from the artist. And now on to cloth simulations from the same artist. So you will see all the LODs right here. You will see them move. And you can appreciate the level of details and how smooth the first ones are. And then even the very optimized one are actually pretty smooth too. We have 2 videos for those. Next, we'll look at the work of Ivan Laliashvili. This is the Desert Tenak Capital solar power plant. So we have wonderful concepts, amazing views, and we have great material callouts. So you can see so much information that is added to the concept art. Then we can see a more detailed concept for those very specific solar panels. I have another one right here with the scale just to see how huge that is. From the same artist, we have a lot of work. I won't be able to go over everything, but let's take a look at Tenak's border and gate. Now here we have an amazing concept with even with the rain, which really gives the mood, with the fog and with the contrasting colors. Everything very angular, very standing out in the environment. We have an illustration on this side. This is really fascinating world building, and the team worked so well, and you can see how every artist is packing so much detailed information. And here we'll take a look at a video. So this is from Character, which is an outsourcing studio. And the first part is actually from Horizon Zero Dawn, but I thought I would include it because it's just so great. And I had to. So you see all the different parts, everything explained, where everything is at. And this is what I love the most. So this is a slice of the interior. So let's get back to Horizon Forbidden West, and this is Las Vegas. And as you can see, a lot of people worked on these concepts. So we have amazing shots. You have night lighting, day lighting, side by side. We have really lots of concepts from this studio. And we also have a video in which you will see it's done in 3D. It's 3D to concept art, if you will. Let me just show this one first. And just note that the wireframe, it's not the final wireframe that was used by the studio, by Guerrilla Games. It's what this outsourcing studio created. Next, we're going to explore the Otaru village, and let's look at the main concept art with some information here and there. This is a very good concept art, see-through construction. So you have basically the beauty shots, which are amazing. And you have some more technical concepts right here, which are extremely interesting. And we have, let me come back right here, some amazing concepts here too, with lots of information on how this is folded, how these things come to be, with some machine parts and organic elements. So that is just so great to see. Amazing concepts, a lot of functional construction related assets. And let's take a look at the video. And some more concepts from the Otaru village. We have to appreciate this is world building at its finest, really. And seeing that, like, how many artists are working for the studio and using outsourcing studio because there's so much to build, and the consistency, the cohesion between everything, it's very impressive. I will be forever amazed by this example of world building. Like, this is an IP that I hope will be around for a very long time, that we will discover new tribes. I think it has a lot of potential for longevity. So we can see some amazing pieces here and many iterations. And we have a video. So there are many more breakdowns and concepts to explore on this very board, also on ArtStation and other resources online. There is really a lot to dig in. So if you're interested, please take the time and check everything. I will make this board available very soon. That will conclude our exploration of Horizon Forbidden West. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hype the video if you can. See you soon for another breakdown. Shout out to the members of the channel, and you are all welcome to join. Additional perks will be added very soon.